How's it going, everybody? In this video, we take a preview look at the upcoming Apple Arcade subscription gaming service that will be launching later this fall. This preview includes 6 different titles, all at different points of development. They are all still in progress, so these are not completed games. These titles are all still in development, and they're all at various stages in the development process. Now, we know that the Apple Arcade subscription service will be launching later this fall with over 100 games, but what we just found out is that it will cost $4.99 a month, which is actually a really good deal considering how many titles you get and the quality of some of the titles that I've tried already, even in this early stage, makes it clear to me that I will definitely be subscribing to Apple Arcade. And keep in mind that these games won't just be limited to the Mac. These are going to be playable across all of the Apple Arcade compatible hardware. So that means that you're going to be able to play these games and pick up right where you left off, thanks to iCloud syncing on your iPad, on your iPhone, on your Apple TV. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and step through the initial early access Apple Arcade experience right now. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac. Be sure to thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Okay, so here we go, folks. I have my 2019 MacBook Pro. This is the base model MacBook Pro. I have Catalina, the latest beta, loaded up on it. And as you can see, thanks to Guy Rambo from 9 to 5 Mac, I have the limited internal carry test enabled, which allows me to get early access to Apple Arcade and the 6 early access titles. So as you can see, all this is found within the Mac App Store under the Arcade tab on the left. So you see the various titles there like Frogger and Toy Town, Sneaky Sasquatch, Hot Lava, Way of the Turtle. And each individual game page will have a nice video at the top that shows the game in action. Of course, you have description below that, you have screenshots, and you have compatibility information on this same page. But as you can see, this gives you a really nice visual preview of what to expect from the gameplay. Now, in the early access beta, if you will, not all of the individual pages for each game have the video at the top enabled. So that's something I noticed. But on the description, you can tell the size of the game, you can tell whether it has controller support, compatibility information, all that. So that is really nice, giving you a good overview of the game, what it involves, how many players it supports, etc. So here's Hot Lava, one of the flagship games from the Apple Arcade launch. But let's go ahead and click on Try It Free and go ahead and subscribe to the early access trial. Just put in my Apple ID and password here. And then I'll go ahead and click the Continue button when that pops up. All right, and then click OK. All right, so now we are subscribed to the early access preview. So this gives us access to all 6 of the games here. I'm going to go ahead and click the Get button, and that is going to download each of the games directly to my Mac's internal storage. And some of these games are fairly large. I think one of them was like 4.7 gigabytes. Some of them are small. But again, these are early access games. They're still in development, so keep that in mind during this demonstration. All right, so we've loaded up the first game, Way of the Turtle. You can see it's running in a little windowed screen there. You could play it like that if you wanted to, but we're gonna maximize it to fill up the whole screen to take up all of that resolution on our MacBook Pro. So here we go. This is what Way of the Turtle looks like. You can see a very cute looking game with the little turtle that just got married and he already lost his wife. That's really sad. On his honeymoon. So I won't pretend that I'm an expert at this game. I haven't really played it that much, but it's obvious that it's an automatic runner. So the character actually is moving by itself. I'm not pressing any buttons to make it move. You do press the button to make it jump, obviously, but it keeps running in whatever direction you're pointing the turtle in. So that's an interesting control scheme. I'm actually playing with an Xbox controller right now. So it feels a little bit disconnected from the controller because it's an automatic runner. So it's like you're not really moving the character left or right except when you're changing directions. But what's interesting is that control scheme, while it may sound easy, it's actually kind of challenging in some respects because you keep moving, so you have to make sure that you don't run into any obstacles. And there are certain power-ups you can use to stop the character from running. This little shell will stop the character and prevent it from running into traps. So even though it's an automatic runner, there is definitely some strategy involved, and it will only get deeper as you unlock additional power-ups and when you encounter stronger enemies. All right, so now let's load up another game here. Kings of the Castle. You can see you have a little configuration screen there. So I'm interested to see how Apple will incorporate all this on the final product. How will they make this feel like a completely cohesive, unified experience? That remains to be seen. How will it differ launching a game on the Mac from launching a game on the iPad or the Apple TV, for instance? I'm really interested to see how Apple is going to pull this off. But this is Kings of the Castle. You see the little countdown timer at the top. This is a first-person experience, and you're going around collecting these gems. But what's interesting about this, obviously the design is very interesting. You get this nice bright design, sort of a psychedelic look to it. This door is locked. So I am playing Kings of the Castle with my Xbox controller as well. There we go, there's a key. Let's go ahead back to the door and see if we can get this guy open here. There we go. All right, so making progress. Now, what's interesting about this game is you encounter enemies that present to you sort of like quick time elements. You know that game Shenmue from back in the day on the Sega Dreamcast? It's sort of like that, not exactly, but sort of like a take on that where it pauses the game and you're interacting with these enemies doing certain tasks. For instance, here with these bees, you have to like use your sword to hit each of the bees as it goes back and forth on this little slider. And it can be a little challenging, especially when the slider's moving really quick. This is actually pretty slow. I'm just terrible. But it definitely spices up the gameplay. So it's not just about running around in, I mean, let's be honest, this crazy looking psychedelic 3D space, but there's more than meets the eye with Kings of the Castle. All right, so let's go ahead to our next game. Next up is Down in Bermuda. It is obviously like every other game that we've demonstrated. It is a work in progress title. This is from Yak & Company. And these are the same developers of the popular game Agent A Puzzle in Disguise. And that was an adventure game, a point and click style game. So what we know right off the bat, without even playing Down in Bermuda, is that we know these guys know how to make this type of game. If Agent A is any sort of proof of that. That much is obvious. So right now, this is a very early build of the game, but you can still navigate around, use your mouse, and click on various elements within the environment to make progress. So if we click the little red button here, and we turn the little wheel, that's going to help us to proceed with the story. So there we go. So Down in Bermuda, coming this fall for Apple Arcade. All right, so now let's talk about the game that surprised me the most, Sneaky Sasquatch. So this game, folks, I'm telling you, it is probably going to be the first game I download and play once Apple Arcade launches. Even in this early stage, it shows so much promise, and it feels like the most fleshed out game of the early access trial that I was able to try. So basically, you're playing a role of like a teenage Sasquatch, which in and of itself is hilarious, right? But the point is that you're sneaky because the park ranger is sort of, he's on you. He's all over you, trying to make sure you don't enter the campground because you're a Sasquatch and you're going to scare the rest of the campgoers. So he doesn't want you there. So he's like, get out of here. So you have to be sneaky. This little raccoon guy is going to help you out, say, hey, that's not fair. Let me show you how to get in this campground. So he's going to show you the ropes and help you get started. There's all sorts of elements that you can use. You can click on lots of different things. For instance, this little cooler with some hot dogs in it. You can sit there and you're actually using your mouse to drag each of these guys to your bag. And then when you go to eat it, it's even more hilarious. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So he's like, don't eat it here. That's uncivilized. Let's go sit down. So you're going to do that. And then this bag opens. And then you're taking your mouse cursor and dragging it up to your mouth like that. And And you can see this little health meter go up on the right side, his little food meter. I don't know, that's just hilarious to me. You're already full, dude. You don't need that one. Okay. All right, so that is that is one part, just one little part of what you'll see. So here's the park ranger, he's asleep, and the raccoon's like, hey dude, you're gonna have to sneak by this guy. Don't run because your feet are so big, he's gonna hear you. So you're clicking one by one to tiptoe through. So just elements like that make it really fun. So I'm sneaking by this guy, and once I get far enough, I'm just gonna book it. Let's go ahead and just run. There we go. All right, so that's just, like I said, one part of it. I mean, you can race cars, and you're racing around this racetrack, and I don't know how to race or go fast. I'm sure I could go faster than this, but pretty terrible. And you're controlling this all with the mouse. I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming controller support will be there, but I don't know for sure. But you can ski around like this. And here's another little part. You get the flashlight. Just little things like this. You're changing the radio station. No, let's change. There we go, some classical. Guy's like, what's going on here? Hey! So, just a great game. Highly, highly looking forward to Sneaky Sasquatch later this fall. So let's talk about another game. This is another preview. This is Frogger in Toy Town from Konami. It's been 50 years. Konami been around. Wow. So obviously it tells you this is a work in progress demo. But like all the games on the Apple Arcade that I've tried, they've all been relatively solid. They've all been stable. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed by what I've seen thus far. So Frogger in Toy Town, basically your typical Frogger gameplay, moving a frog across the street, but obviously this is a little bit more in depth, a little bit more to it here. You're picking up little items, you're rescuing your little frogling friends. You can even pick up items and throw it. I don't really remember how the original Frogger played. I think it was a little simpler than this. But I could be wrong. Maybe some of these elements were in the original. I can't remember. I want to pick up this little guy here. It's a bomb, so I'm just going to throw that to help me get through this little area here. My little frogling's asking me, hey, come get me, dude. So I'm just going to hop up here. So you're really able to go around the environment, and there's multiple environments that you're going to encounter in Frogger in Toy Town. So I'm gonna grab this little baseball and throw it at this guy to get my little frog buddy there. There we go. Come on, dude. Let's hop to the exit. All right, so let's talk about probably the quote-unquote flagship title of the Apple Arcade, and that is, of course, Hot Lava. The game where the floor is lava and you're trying to avoid the floor. There's so many cool, awesome 80s elements to this game. There's even like a little cartoon that plays in the beginning. I've turned some of the graphics and texture settings down a bit on my 2019 MacBook Pro because this is the base model, entry-level MacBook Pro. It has the integrated GPU. So a little bit later, I'm going to show you how I turn the settings up with the help of an external GPU. So we're going to go through here. This is sort of like the little trial run through the gymnasium. So it shows you, basically, as you can see, it's a first person, sort of like a parkour game where you're hopping, running, and jumping, and grabbing ropes and everything. But here's my Blackmagic eGPU Pro. So I'm gonna hook that up. But really, you can use any eGPU that's compatible with macOS and benefit heavily from the extra graphics power if you have something like an entry-level MacBook Pro, for instance, with integrated graphics that just aren't that powerful. So what we're going to do, I have the Blackmagic eGPU Pro connected. We're just going to right-click on one of the games, go to Get Info, and then click where it says Prefer eGPU, and that's it. So now it's going to use that eGPU to give it some extra power in the graphics department, and that's going to allow me to turn up the settings much higher than I was able to do initially. and allow the game to run at a high frame rate with those settings. Now, it doesn't make sense to get too deep in the weeds talking about graphics on an early access beta of 6 games that aren't even finished yet. So we're not gonna go there, but I did wanna let you know that you can take advantage of an external GPU on your Mac if you want to. Obviously, a powerful device like the iPad Pro or the latest iPhone is going to perform better than your MacBook Pro, for instance, with integrated graphics. So with those platforms, I don't think you'll have a problem with performance, but on some of the weaker Mac hardware, you may have some issues where an eGPU can benefit you heavily. All right, so let's go ahead and play through Hot Lava again. Start over here. You can see the textures look a lot better with that eGPU and the Mac settings. All right, so we're just gonna jump through, but like I said, you're basically running and jumping. I'm controlling all this with the mouse and keyboard, and so yeah, it's a pretty simple game, but once you get going, you get some really high speed and you're able just to run through these areas. Obviously, you wanna avoid the lava, that's the whole point. But the really beautiful thing about this game is how you're able to seamlessly speed through areas. And it's sort of like a work of art, honestly. As you learn the courses, you're able to just run through them at full speed without stopping. And that is, like I said, it's sort of a beautiful thing to witness. And especially it's a beautiful thing if you're able to do so. You're the one controlling the character as he runs through these obstacle courses at high speeds, avoiding the lava below. So Hot Lava, along with Sneaky Sasquatch, are 2 of my most anticipated games for the Apple Arcade. I already knew I would love Hot Lava. I was already anticipating that, but Sneaky Sasquatch, I think that kind of came out of left field for me. I was really surprised at how well that game played and how well it looked and just how well it had come together. I'm really looking forward to that Hot Lava and some of the other titles as well. They all look solid, and I think Apple Arcade for $4.99 is going to be a steal. I think it is a no-brainer for anyone who likes games and anyone within the Apple ecosystem. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think about the games you've seen thus far. Which one is your favorite one? Do you like Way of the Turtle? Do you like Sneaky Sasquatch? Do you like Hot Lava? Do you like Kings of the Castle, Down in Bermuda, or Frogger in Toy Town? Let me know down below in the comment section with your thoughts and opinions. Again, Apple Arcade launching later this fall with a 1-month free trial and $4.99 thereafter. Yeah, I can't wait for this. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Mac.